Welcome everyone to our weekly Soul Changes Lives webinar. My name is Debbie Perez Cockburn. I welcome you every week. I'm so glad to be with you every week. I hope that you are enjoying these classes as much as we're enjoying doing them. The information that we provide is strictly our opinion. No one on the panel is a doctor. And so we are not offering medical advice, but we are offering good health advice, sound ways to use our products called Soul Naturals. So every week we try to start our classes with a testimonial, and then we have a product section with our president and one of the founders of Soul Naturals, Mr. Greg Halliday, whom I have known for over 30 years now and happy to work alongside my brother. And then we have a last section called How Bright Does Your Soul Shine? And usually it's a health tip. So the one thing that we will cover this week during that section is a method called the 4-7-8 method for relaxing and getting better sleep. So how to calm your brain after using the product that we will talk about this week, which is ReNue. And so, as I mentioned, our first section is always the How Soul Changes Lives section. And this week we have the great fortune of listening to my sweet friend, Juanita Fuentes, who is in California, who is going to share her story. And so I turn the time over to you, Juanita. I know you're going to share your story with us.
Yes, I am. I'm in California and it's pretty hot over here. So I'm outdoor. I don't know how hot it looks, but it's hot. And I'm a little nervous. But I wanted to share my story. This is a personal experience that I've experienced with Soul Naturals. There's so many things that I can share, but I'll stick to just a few things that I recently noticed. I've been taking Soul Naturals for about 2 years. Basically, I have all the products, but I've always maintained myself strictly on the 4 drinks. In the beginning, when I started taking Soul Naturals, I started with the initial balance, and I wasn't sick. So I didn't really notice a big difference as far as trying to cure, some kind of disease or something like a lot of people have testimonials on. But what I did notice is recently we went to Vegas, and we went on a vacation to Vegas, and you stay outside in the sun and you get sunburned. But with me, I was allergic to the sun. Every time I would go under the sun, I would start getting itchy, and I would start getting like a rash and like red bumps. And so I'm really afraid of the sun. I would always wear like a light sweater or something to cover myself. What I noticed is this time that we went to Vegas, which was like the beginning of July, I was afraid of the sun, so I tried to keep myself out of it. But I noticed that I didn't get that rash. And I confirmed it this last Wednesday. We went to SeaWorld. I wore like a regular shirt.
Oh, we lost Juanita, darn it. Let's see if we can get her back. Here she comes.
Okay, yeah.
I hear you now. Yeah,
Hello?
we lost you for a little bit, but we hear you now. So you were telling us that you went to SeaWorld and you were wearing a regular shirt?
Yeah, usually I would, I go to SeaWorld or anywhere, any theme park or at the beach or anywhere, and I wear, a sweater or a long sleeve shirt because I'm so afraid of getting a rash from the sun. This time that I went to SeaWorld, I wore like a regular shirt, and I took an extra light sweater, and I wrapped it on my waist because it Okay, I'm back. Wow. I'm moving to a different location in the house. Maybe I'll get better reception.
I can hear you fine.
Okay. So continuing on, where did I leave off? We went to SeaWorld and I confirmed that my rash didn't appear with the sun because I was under the sun. I put a little bit of sunblock, but that never worked before. And I noticed that my rash didn't come in. So I was excited about that. I wanted to share that with you guys. And also with the Solflex AC cream, when we were in Vegas, my nephews, you know, they got sunburned. Even though they put sunblock, they still got sunburned and a rash on their face. And I put the cream on them and the next day it was gone. So that was really nice. I use the products daily, and I also got sick recently. After coming from Vegas, I noticed that my body was a little bit out of balance from all the, I guess my body's not used to, you know, drinking alcohol. But one thing that I did notice was I would take my ReNue at night, and in the morning, if I woke up like a little bit feeling maybe a little hangover, I would drink my red tea and I would feel better immediately. I was like, I'm ready for another day. And when we came back from Vegas, my body was out of balance. It must have been because I got sick and I went to go get tested for COVID because I had all the symptoms. You know, it started with a head sinus, a cough, my throat was hurting, pretty much all the symptoms from COVID. I went to go get tested, negative. At the same time, I was taking So Clear. I was taking all the 4 drinks. I added the Solflex PI to my daily intake, and I recovered within like 3 to 4 days. Throughout this whole time that I was sick, yeah, it was really fast. Throughout this whole time that I was sick, I was still able to do my daily mommy duties, you know, and I was thinking, oh my God, I did feel like really, really bad for like a day or two. And I'm like, how do women, I mean, what is a mom supposed to do when she gets sick? And like, who's supposed to take care of the house? Nobody. So I had to get up and keep drink my tea, stay hydrated. And that was another way that Sol has helped me recently. And I could tell a big benefit from it.
That's awesome, Juanita. For those of you who don't remember, Juanita also shared a very, very close to her heart experience with her uncle who was diagnosed with cancer, and how he had overcome a lot of problems that came after his traditional cancer treatments using Sol Natural products. So Juanita is, although she says she's a newbie, she's still learning. I think she has found some great uses for Sol. I'm so glad that you were able to get out and enjoy the sun. That's an amazing accomplishment. I know we have so many great supplements that help to overcome allergies, and that you've been able to experience that personally, as well as you just taught us that if you go out and party, you take that ReNue at night and you take your Cinnamate in the morning and you're good to go. So I think that's kind of fun.
I want to add something. When I did I've done the initial balance, and I've also done the 4-month program. When I was in the 4-month program, on the 2nd and 3rd month, I actually got hives all over my body. I broke out with a rash, and I would tell myself it's normal. It's part of the program. My body's trying to get rid of something. So what I would do is I would put the Solflex AC on the hive, and then maybe about a couple hours later, they were gone, as if nothing had been there. But it was like for a whole week straight, the 1st month, and then the 2nd month, it was like for a whole week straight that I would get them, and the 3rd month. So normally, you know, when this happens to like any of our clients, you would think like, oh, something's wrong. You're allergic to something, stop it. But no, that's something good that our body's trying to get rid of. And I experienced it. Yeah.
Juanita, thank you for that. You remember that a few weeks ago, we talked about healing crisis during our last section. And that certainly, I was speaking to one of the top leaders in my success line, Miguel, and we were talking about how Sol helps your body detox. And when you're doing the program, your body may go into a healing crisis that doesn't last very long, which is really wonderful. And I think that's probably what you were describing, Juanita. So again, thank you for sharing your testimonial. Thank you for sharing your story with us. You've shared many stories with us this year, and I'm so grateful to have you every week share your experiences.
And I have many more. Whenever you want, I can share them. Mosquito repellent. So, okay.
Yeah, it works for everything, doesn't it? That's awesome. Thanks again. All righty. So we're going to move into our product section. As I said, this week we're talking about one of my favorite products. And I know I say one of my favorite products every week because all of the Soul products are my favorite products. For those of you who know me, I've used natural products for over 30 years from a very reputable company, but I can tell you wholeheartedly, I've never seen the results that I have with this product, with this company. And I think ReNue is probably one of the least understood products that we have. I think because most people associate it with the calming category. If you're familiar with Soul, you know the blue signifies that it is in the calming category. And so most people just assume that all the product is good for is just to go to sleep, but it does more than help you go to sleep. It really helps the body rejuvenate, recuperate, and just regenerate cells. And so I've asked our founder, Greg Halliday, to tell us a little bit about why ReNue is an important part of the Initial Balance program. It is part of package number 3. So primary balance, or in Spanish, balance inicial, initial balance. You've probably heard us all say that. It really is important. And you will find that it has many more uses than just to help you relax and get a good night's sleep. Greg, I'll turn the time over to you. And I thank you for being with us every week. I know you're so busy. A lot of CEOs of a company would never do this every week for a group. So again, I thank you for doing that for us.
You bet, Deb, and hello, everybody. It's good to be here. I'm lucky because I've got some good people I work with here. I'm able to get onto these Zooms too, because those are important to me. And I want to thank Juanita for sharing. I just appreciate hearing from you. I try to listen closely, and sometimes on other classes, when something sparks a memory, if it's okay with you, I'll share experiences that you share so they can help somebody else. That's kind of why we formed the company, right? And I am excited to talk about ReNue. As we were building our product line, ReNue was the final of the 4, what we call the 4 signature drinks. And I guess you can't rush some things. And ReNue was ready when it was ready, this formula. But it is a lot more than just calming. And it's funny, I say just calming, but sometimes it helps me to kind of review and walk through the ingredients again. Some of the studies that are known, of the more well-known studies, that are also viewed by our scientific advisor, Dr. Allison, as reputable. There are lots of studies that, are good, and lots of studies that just, honestly, they're not put together well. They really don't show anything, and they can kind of form whatever conversation a person wants to have and then couch it in a study. Unfortunately, that is part of anything with information. So we do try to look through. When Dr. Allison includes a study, it's because she's looked at it. She has designed many studies. She's published many studies in medical journals even. So it is something that she's familiar with. She can look for the signs that a study can be good. And I mean, studies aren't everything, right? What we feel and experience is most important. But studies can educate us, and they can help, I think, spotlight opportunities to help ourselves and others, because it gets us thinking about different health issues and how they interact. But I hope that when we look at these slides and the ingredients, that we're kind of thinking of the application and the principles behind them, instead of just like, oh, I match this up with that. because we'll say this a lot. The most expensive and frustrating way, I think, to manage health, even naturally, is to just match up things with issues one by one. Things are all connected, and it is advantageous to look at set programs. And that's one of the reasons we founded Soul, was with the structure that we have, was to help hopefully simplify something that's very complex, and that's the nutrition that we bring in. So ReNue kind of went through that process when we looked at what should be a part of this calming and why is calming so important. Well, there are a few reasons, and I think they'll come out if we go through some of the slides. So you look at the ingredients, and the first one I like to start with is, I think, the initial highlight, because it's not known around these parts too well. It's not commonly used at all in the United States. It's not even known by, I would say, 99% of the population has never heard of Yuzu if you ask them. And I was one of those, for sure. Dr. Allison, and this is the industry that I've lived in for 30 years, but nonetheless, it's not been very common here. Yuzu actually is a hybrid, but not man-made. It's insect caused, as best scientists can ascertain. And it is a combination. I've seen a couple of differing reports. This one talks about mandarin orange and grapefruit, but really I've also heard multiple times lime, grapefruit, and mandarin orange, those three. So regardless, it does have properties that you'll see in all three of those. And it's been really thousands of years now that it's existed as itself, this yuzu fruit. It is known for soothing. It is super popular in Japan and countries thereabouts. The flavor is really popular in all sorts of food preparations. There are compounds that relax and soothe muscles, that heal skin, that balance endocrine-related stressors. So our glandular stressors that affect gland balance, it absolutely makes a difference in metabolism, and it is actually very protective. It's high in antioxidants, as many fruits are, citrus fruits are. Here's an example of the yuzu bath that they'll take in some of these countries. You can go to spas and sit in a hot tub with 200 of your favorite fruits floating there with you. Doesn't that just look enticing? I don't, how many people can you fit in there with all those, I mean, it probably is something that women do, because I think if you put guys in there, they're going to start throwing them, or I don't know what they're going to do with those fruits, but I do find that quite interesting at Yuzu Spa. But it releases these wonderful volatile oils that it has. It's really high in vitamin C. The fragrance is a big deal, and it's part of these studies, these stress-reducing studies. There are some new polyphenols discovered in it. And here's a study that shows one of those volatile oils, Naringenin. And one of the tests that they do for endocrine stress. And it's a very good study. Randomized crossover is about as unbiased as you can make it. And they noticed a reduction. Women reported a reduction in these markers of stress. So it is of calming fragrance. There are a couple of polyphenols. So that's just one of the categories of good plant compounds. Two of them that you might have heard of before. That top one, I think you'll find in other fruits. Maybe both of them, but hesperidin and I'm not sure how to pronounce the bottom one. But you can see what they do. They're involved in some pretty key health activities for us. And I think she's got a couple of studies that Dr. Allison shows us here. These are summaries of studies. So you can see that all sorts of measures improving cholesterol and blood and the fats in blood. You want to reduce the bad and improve the good, right? And keep things from oxidizing. And hesperidin is one of those things that does that, and it's in yuzu. The other one it's listed here. This is a study of, or a summary as well. So notice it's antibacterial and fungal, antispasmodic. It is a liver protector, and it also helps protect the stomach and in the inner linings from ulcer or lesions. So it's quite, Yuzu is beneficial and protective, both of those things, nutritive and very protective. Of course, there's pectin, as there is in many fruits. And this particular pectin that Yuzu has, they've used it in studies against digestive ulcers and shown that it makes a difference. It makes a difference in the stomach lining. So lots of good things. Now here's a couple other facts about Yuzu. This is one where they studied comparing it to grapefruit seed oil, another popular antioxidant, and it was twice as potent. So that's good. You know that Yuzu is related to grapefruit anyway. And it was at the same level as monk fruit. Monk fruit's higher as well, and we have monk fruit in a couple of our other products at Sol. And then here's another study that showed that Yuzu actually helps with insulin sensitivity. So Debbie said something, she said, ReNue is useful in a lot of other ways besides just, I want to feel more calm. I want to take the anxiety away. That's a big reason. It's a huge reason to have it. You can sip on it hot or cold, different times of day. A little goes a long way. You don't always have to drink a whole packet. You can drink some, come back and drink some more. Before I go to bed, I like to drink it as a hot cup of tea. And I drink the whole thing like about a half hour, 20 minutes before I want to go to bed. That's one use because it's very relaxing and it kicks in those resting time activities like digestion. It's a really good calming stomach digestive, but it's also stimulating to the processes that need to happen when we're in that parasympathetic state, right? So doesn't make me too surprised what we're seeing with blood sugar regulation in Yuzu, how it helps with that. And this was just another summary she mentioned in terms of resting, that hot bath or whatever. Malic acid in Yuzu helps relax muscles and takes inflammation down. When that can happen, the body can recover better. So we can get past aches better. So Yuzu, I would kind of say with ReNue, it's worth trying it at different times of the day, and also trying it, hot or cold, or even trying it mixed with another Sol drink. And maybe if you're going through a really tough time, I'm a big believer in, tasting it. And if your body's craving more, you can even try for a short period of time, multiple ReNue in a day and see if you can actually get past a hard situation there. It's not that there's anything there's no worry about doing multiple. It's just that you don't need generally multiple if you're using all the drinks. But I do know of some who have had reasons why they might try more and just see what changes and learn a little bit more about some of the unique ingredients that are only in ReNue, if that can help get the body over a hurdle of something that we're working on. There is a study with associating Alzheimer's and the plaques involved with it, and Yuzu as well. And again, what they showed is those who consumed the fruit had lower incidence of these things, better energy, less blood sugar problems. Okay, so Yuzu's a big one. It's a new one, so we spent a lot of time understanding a little bit about it. This second herb is a new one, or was to me as well, even after all these years being in the industry. I was not familiar with Rhaponticum carthamoides. It doesn't grow here. It grows in Siberia. Maybe that's why I wasn't familiar with it. And it has not always been readily available. In fact, we originally were considering putting this in SolVital. And I think you can see why. Just read this slide. Boy, that seems to fit just wonderfully with SolVital in terms of anxiety and depression. And SolVital has those adaptogens in it, 6 of them, to help regulate our mood. And Rhaponticum is a gem of an adaptogen. It is a full adaptogen. Scientists discovered it by watching deer eat this flower and this plant when they were injured. So after they gave birth, after the males fought, they would watch them go eat this. And I'm trying to think if they would eat the root too, but they watched them eat this plant. And so that kind of keyed them into, oh, let's study this a little more. The Russian scientists began studying it. So here is one of the most interesting depression studies I've seen, because these numbers are a lot higher than you'll usually see. When you see something like 75% of the people going, we don't have any symptoms now. I don't remember, okay, yes, it does say right here, 2 months. So that's about 8 weeks. And they were drinking an extract. I think it was 4 to 5 times a day. I think it does say that, doesn't it, on the slide? Yeah, and it was good. Think about how much 4 ounces is too. 4 ounces is a lot. So this was significant amount, but it shows you 2 things. All true adaptogens you can use in whatever amount. And if you're not getting a result, you can increase them and keep increasing them until you see a result. Adaptogens cannot have that classification if they're not safe for daily use in whatever quantity is necessary. So Rhaponticum, this they used a lot in this study, but I do think it's quite significant, the percentage of people that commented, yeah, we don't feel any depressive feelings right now. Of course, like all adaptogens, because adaptogens work on our metabolism, they're regulators. They're going to improve how our body produces energy. So that's why people tend to have longer energy, more stamina, and that's why they used them with athletes. Same reason. But I think if you're working long days, physical work as well, muscles recover faster. And that's the other point that I wanted to make. Think back to the deer eating these. That is some unique quality of Rhaponticum, is that it accelerates the healing. So when you're trying to heal from something, I'll just throw out 2 thoughts today. One is, any kind of physical injury, ramping up, increasing ReNue to some extent can really be useful in healing. And when it's something that you can put the AC cream on as well, doing both of those things, that's an awesome combination. I would maybe even add Vertizymes to that, because those protease enzymes are healers as well in the quantities that we have in Vertizymes. So Vertizymes, ReNue, and Solflex is a great trio for healing from any kind of injury, or like I think a major problem with tissue, that maybe came from a chronic situation too and is now very weak. Then anything like that, where I'm trying to rebuild, restore, heal, repair, that's where Rhaponticum comes in here, among other things, but the Yuzu for sure too, but the Rhaponticum is the main player in that. And so I like to always put that point out there. The other point that I want to just throw out there is, sometimes when stresses have become overwhelming and they just linger with us, they're hard to kind of get past. Same thing, increasing ReNue to process anxieties, depressions, maybe a better word of putting it is like traumas, both physical trauma or emotional. Try adding more ReNue. It doesn't always mean you have to add more quantity. Sometimes it's spread it out more times during the day that I drink it. I drink some more often instead of all of it at once. Or it could be, the combination of those 2, but it is something to think about when we're trying to repair from something. Now, here's another study with Rhaponticum and metabolic syndrome. I think we're familiar. Unfortunately, more and more people are becoming aware of what this means. And all I know is that adaptogens help push that the other direction, back toward balance. So let's just quickly mention some of the other herbs that are in the formula too. These are more familiar to us, aren't they? Lemon balm for years, we've been around. couple of facts Dr. Allison brings out, just little reminders that I tend to forget. I would not have been able to answer this question if someone said to me, which herb increases dendrite growth in your the dendrites are, help me, Debbie, they're the little like feet and legs of nerves, right?
They look like little tentacles.
Yeah.
On top of I call it hair on the nerve cell, because these little dendrites don't touch each other, but they're in close enough proximity that they send a current and a certain hormone that transmits the message throughout the nervous system. And for so long, science would tell us that there was no way to rebuild nerve cells or rebuild brain cells, but lemon balm is one that does that.
Yeah, and
amazing.
It does it a couple of ways. And one way is mitigating higher levels of cortisol. So there are lots of different things of processes at play with the formula in Soul Renew. That's why it's a signature drink. Signature drinks are really broad, and they're meant to kind of have all the building blocks for the major imbalances. It's not that they have every answer, but they do have all the building blocks and we can increase them. So lemon balm's a great one. Anxiety studies with it, sleep disorder studies with it, and every one of those, it shows promise. It shows some positive result. To me, when it comes to calm and to getting rid of anxiety or improving depressive feelings, I'm such a believer because of my own family's history that little increments that are positive are worth, each one of them are golden, because when you're dealing with something that does not change and will not improve, and improvement, it doesn't matter what it is, but something I notice is everything. And it lets me continue on. It changes, it sort of sets in motion all sorts of positive things. So that's the way I look at lemon balm and these ingredients. When they can help a degree, that starts the most important direction of momentum, which is this positive belief now. And I start to get positive cycles in my brain, and they also tend to proliferate. Either way will proliferate. So there are studies with lemon balm that we have better concentration. There's a school study, test performance, calmer, less stress during that, memory and attention for Alzheimer's situations, calm, improved dementia, patients, in other words, less frustration with those kinds of challenges. And when I can take the level of frustration down, I start positive processes, positive domino effects. We have wood betony in this formula, and I believe, I got to go back and look at the formula. I said this yesterday in Spanish, but I think we have even more wood betony in this one than we have in the Vertizymes, in the capsule. In ReNue, wood betony to us is everything. It's everything about those old sayings that we love to say. Because didn't we talk about Vertizymes recently, Debbie? The old Roman saying and the old Spanish saying from Spain. One of them is, sell your coat and buy wood betony. And the other saying, these are from centuries ago. The other one is, if they're complimenting a woman, they'll say she has more virtues than wood betony. That was a Spanish phrase. Why? Well, the more I read on wood betony, anything to do with the head, from pain to ear infection, to stress of all kinds, anxiety, to migraine, to memory, to concentration, all of those things, because wood betony, we believe, is also an adaptogen. It's a probable adaptogen. It brings calm and it uses its unique components, but it is one of those things that daily use will greatly affect our body's ability, our mind's ability to adapt and not reach those severe states that where we've labeled them, like, these severe headaches and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So wood betony is also antimicrobial. That's why it helps with ear infection. I mean, it does lots of good things. And I kind of like the summary, anything to do with the head, wood betony, I'm sure it does much more than that. but what Betony helps with. It is a traditional nervine. It was used as yellow dye. These plant pigments are some of our very best nutrition, and they're safe. Usually the pigments are an evidence of that for daily use. It is a nerve pain. One of the studies with what Betony showed reduction in nerve pain. There's another study I wanted to say, and now it just slipped my mind. So I'm sorry, I was going to mention something else about it. I think it comes back in one of the other ingredients here, to do with heart palpitation. So I think we'll circle back to it. So passion flower is the next ingredient, another wonderful one. And it is probably the part of ReNue, if you ever know someone who drinks it and goes, oh yeah, it makes me a little sleepy. Well, if you're not sleeping at night, or if you have really interrupted sleep, so you're not resting, that could be the case. Generally though, ReNue's not supposed to be a sedative. Like I say, unless it's just not happening for the person in anything close to an adequate amount. Passion flower is one of the reasons for that. It has been studied as much as any herb against pharmaceuticals. So here's one that just mentions anti-anxiety pharmaceutical, and and passion flower was comparable, and no side effects and no chemicals in your body. Here's another summary statement from Dr. Allison. It showed in the studies a wide spectrum of pharmacological activities, including anti-anxiety and anxiolytic, anti-anxiety, sedative, antitussive, anti-asthmatic, and anti-diabetic activity. All of this are the components known for pharmacological activity that passion flower has in it. So it's a big one. Schizandra is another one. It's in Adaptable. It's in Sol Vital. Might even be in Sol Complete. I can't remember. We use it a few times. Why? Well, here we go. The neurotransmitters that Debbie alluded to. Schizandra helps manage those, balance those, level those out. So when they need to be increased for a reason, they can be. When they need to be decreased, they can be. There are mood studies with it, lots of studies on stress. The one on this slide is I'm talking about how too much stress is one of the causes of tumors and abnormal cells. And that when we can improve stress in our life, we can improve the other. That's I think a class example of why we believe in preventative health, right? Finding these good nutrients and making them part of our daily nutrition. That's why we put these in drinks, to make it pretty easy to have someone take a little bit of Schizandra every day among these other ingredients and not have it be a big deal, and manage our stress a little bit better, hopefully. So Motherwort is the next one. Here we are again, improving anxiety and depression in hypertensive patients, lowering blood pressure, lowering convulsions of, I think, various kinds. I mean, it is one of the main things I think of. If someone talks about a lot of anxiety in the day, in their life, if we can nourish what ends up getting depleted because of anxiety, and the body can handle the stress better, then our body has a chance to heal. Then we feel energy. Then we actually have enough energy to do things. When we're fighting constantly this anxiety and burning, so to speak, so much energy on that, then it's no wonder that these more serious things follow. Well, here it is. This was the one I was going to tell you about with passion, but here it is with Motherwort. So they call it is known as a cardiaca because it reduces heart palpitations. So in Germany, it's actually written in the German Commission, any kind of irregular heartbeat from stress, a Motherwort is recommended. And that makes sense. Look at Chinese medicine. Traditionally, it's antispasmodic. Those kind of reactions, which are to overload, sometimes they can be to being depleted, too depleted in nutrients too. And then we have our best friend chamomile, which is more than just a good tasting, calming, wonderful tea, because it actually mitigates allergic reactions, inflammation, menstrual disorders. Back to my comment about wounds and healing the body's I think, natural processes of daily healing from where we hurt it, damage it, bruise it, bump it, stretch it, pull it, overuse it. Well, you know, that's why we have so many different ingredients that work on that. The Rhaponticum is sort of like the king ingredient there, but chamomile is really, really a big complementary ingredient for that. Ulcers and gastro pain, two other properties that, or results that, benefits, I guess is the word I'm looking for, that chamomile can bring us, fighting those. So I'm going to skip right here because there's some other comments, but it just makes sense when you think about it. Anything like ADD, ADHD, I'm not going to go into this today just with time, but let me just say this. Kids before school, a nice little hot, if they'll do like the hot herbal tea with their breakfast. If not, if they want it cold, that's okay. You know, ReNue, you can make ReNue taste like a creamsicle, those orange popsicles with vanilla ice cream that kids, almost every kid loves. You can make this taste exactly like it because of the yuzu, the citrus in it. There's one more ingredient that I didn't talk about because I didn't add it onto these English slides, Debbie, but the, what's maracuya? The passion fruit that is also in here that has lots of great vitamin and mineral benefits as well. Kids, you can do a hot, like a warm tea with this and put coconut milk in it, or almond milk, or whatever non-dairy of your choice, like a layer of it, like you would like a layer of the vanilla ice cream with the orange creamsicle, and it will taste like a creamsicle. We call it the dreamsicle because when you drink it at night, it's to go to bed and sleep.
Right.
So it's another good night one if they won't go to sleep. But kids before school, issues where you're trying to have focus by restoring calm, whereas Cinemate is focused by bringing more energy and clarity to it. ReNue is kind of like coming from the opposite side, and it's super powerful. Debbie has tons of experience with this, several amazing ones with kids who can change everything around in school.
Yep.
Grades, behavior, everything. ReNue before you go. So anyway, back to you, Deb. I'll let you comment further.
Thanks so much, Greg. You again, I have to say that ReNue is probably the most least understood of our foundational drinks, and I love it for all of those reasons that you stated. When you think about healing, your body really wants to just slow down so it can heal, right? If you're suffering from anxiety and stress or depression, this can keep you awake at night and disrupt your sleep. And so this could be a great product for that. But if you're using it during the day, and I have to tell you, Greg, I used to be so squeamish and I would just kind of give it the stink eye when somebody said, oh, try the Soul Balm, because for me, I enjoy each drink so much separately because the flavors are so great. But I have to tell you that with this move, we joke at this house that this is the move that never ends because we've been doing it for so many weeks now. I have been doing 64 ounces of water in the afternoon with all my drinks in there. And it's like you say, you don't need to take more packets, just take it throughout the day. And it really makes such a difference for how my body reacts to the different stressors, how I feel normally if you're very stressed and you're busy and you're packing and you're doing a million things, you feel like a malaise, like you're coming down with the flu or a cold, where your body isn't sick, but you're overrun or overstimulated by things. By doing a combination, and I put my Soul Vital, my Excel, and my ReNue in 64 ounces of water in the afternoon, and in the morning, I drink my Cinemate separately, but then I have water with lemon throughout the morning up until lunchtime when I start my last 64 ounces of fluid with my Soul products. And I really love, and it makes so much sense to me what you said. And if you look at each individual component, why things like metabolic syndrome can be affected and reversed by using ReNue, because it helps regulate blood sugar, not during the day, but as the body is trying to repair at nighttime. And so this is really amazing. Heart palpitations, muscle recovery, muscle rebuilding. I love Val's favorite word, that the body is remolded or restructured every day, and ReNue is a vital part of that remolding or remodeling or rebuilding. And so when I think of ReNue, I don't only think relax, I think rejuvenate, rebuild, restore, repair, which you so eloquently explained today. So I thank you for that. And I hope that all of you will now understand why the 4 drinks are so important to this initial balance package and how it can really take the body back to where it needs to be. I really think that when we start using this as a base for our daily supplementation over the months, if you were looking maybe to regulate your blood sugar or lose some weight, you might notice that you are able to maintain a lower set point in weight as well, because that metabolic syndrome is now under control. I don't feel half as many of the cravings as I used to when I was frantic with stress like I would be now. I would just be reaching for chocolate, where I'm reaching for my drink and feel really satisfied and very calm doing so. But I'm quite alert doing everything else that I need to do during the day. So I hope everyone will give it a second look, will use it daily and try to keep an open mind as to how to use it. And I love that you mentioned hot and cold, different times of day, children versus adults. Different needs can be met through this product and through our other foundational drinks. So again, I thank you, Greg. And I look forward to seeing you in 2-3 weeks at convention. And I hope to see as many of you. I know Sybil is all excited. I hope to see as many of you as possible. And those that I know cannot travel to convention at this time, I want to let you know that Greg is going to be doing a presentation on the 4 drinks. It is a brand new presentation. It's a different look at our foundational drinks. I know it will be recorded, and I know that we will review that talk in future Inside Soul or happy hour events. And so I'm promising you, you won't miss a lot of the important things, because we'll make sure to repeat those for you. So again, thanks again, Greg. I really, really appreciate it and love seeing you every week. So thank you. All righty, my friends, we have come to the last section of our webinar. It's called How Bright Does Your Soul Shine? And I just wanted to say, because we were studying ReNue this week, I know that there's a lot of people who suffer from trying to manage their stress before they go to sleep. And so I was doing some experimenting this week, because my mind has been going a little nuts at night. It keeps me awake, even though I've been taking my supplements. And so I tried a new sleeping routine. And so let me just share it with you, okay? So I can't sleep on my back for very long. So I sleep on my side, and I was doing some research. And of course, you know, if you're going to sleep on your side, sleep on your left side, because that helps your body in digestion and doing what it needs to do at nighttime, which goes perfectly when you're taking your ReNue at nighttime. And then to really relax your brain and just concentrate on sleeping, I want you to consider the 4-7-8 method, okay? So you're going to breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. You are going to hold that breath for 7 seconds and then exhale for 8 seconds. So in other words, take a good breath, hold it, and then and count to 8. So we're going to breathe right now. We're going to breathe. We're going to go. Did you do it? That is a great relaxation technique. You do that 4 to 5 times. Make sure that you're in a comfortable position. And the position that is always recommended to do the 4-7-8 is kind of like this. So I'm going to show you, if I were sleeping on my left side, I would put this hand here and this one right here. So it's kind of like you're crossing in front. And then you're going to do your breaths the way we talked about, 4-7-8. So you breathe in for 4. That's perfect, Sybil. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, you exhale for 7, you hold for 7, and then you exhale for 8 seconds. And if you do that 4 or 5 times, it really helps you clear your head, clear your thoughts, and then just tell yourself, good night, go to sleep, okay? And hopefully it works for you. And hopefully it can help your soul shine a little brighter as you recommend Soul ReNue and help your friends who have trouble sleeping. I love you guys. I hope to see you soon. Please remember we have no webinar next week as I am actually moving out of my house next week. And then we'll be preparing for convention. So I will get a hold of you soon, but I won't see you next week. I love you much. Thank you so much for joining us every week. Thank you, Juanita, for sharing your story. Thank you, all of you, for being with us every single week. I love and appreciate each of you. I'm so grateful that you're part of our organization in Soul. Take care.